Hey class, this is Mrs. Lin. Welcome to another week of remote learning. I hope you guys are still staying safe and healthy at home, that you had a great weekend, enjoying some of the sun that was out this weekend. So let's get started with this week's work. Um, for the past few weeks, we've been talking about how to evaluate information you find online and just basically how to do research in general. Um, so I thought as a very last kind of activity of the unit, because we're about to end this unit, um, we could do some research on a famous author or poet of your choosing and do this activity called a BioCube. So the first thing you're going to do is choose a author or poet that you want to know more about. Okay, so you can do Shel Silverstein, Dr. Seuss, um, anybody you can think of really. The Dogman guy, of course, I can't think of. Oh, Dave Pelkey. I'm trying to think of his name and I couldn't think of it for a second there. Dave Pelkey. Any kind of like one of your favorite authors or poets is fine. So you're going to choose a person and then you're going to do a little bit of research on him or her. I would take notes if I were you, just on paper or on this planning sheet that you're going to see inside this app. Okay, and then when you're ready, you can click on Get Started and then basically enter your information. I'm going to show you how this app works, but basically you're going to enter the information you find, and then your finished product would be something you can print out, cut out, and make into a physical cube. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click Get Started to show you this app. Okay, so this is what it looks like. The first thing you're going to do is enter your name. So I'm just going to write down Mrs. Lin. And then you're going to choose this BioCube, or you can choose create your own cube. And I'll show you the difference. Let's go into the create your own cube first, because that was pretty much a blank cube. Okay. So basically, as you go from side 1 to side 2 of the cube, you can enter a question or topic, okay, and then write down your response. Okay, so since we're talking about a famous author, one of the first questions you might be able to ask yourself is, let's see, where was the author? You can say when and where was the author born? Okay, and then you can enter your responses in this area. Okay, you might have another question about the author that you want to ask. It could be something like, what books have the author written? You know, if you're choosing a poet, you can write down what poems have the author written, what books have the author written, and then again, enter your responses here. Okay, and so on. So you would basically go from side to side to side of the cube and enter your questions and then also your responses. Let's make sure that all your questions have to do with your author or your poet. Okay, and not just some random question that you want to ask. Okay, that's a common mistake that kids run into when they're just creating their own cube, that they forget that this whole cube is about one person, that the questions have to do with that person. All right, so that's one way to do it if you want to come up with your own research questions about your author. There is a planning sheet here that you can use, and basically that opens up a note sheet that you can print out during your research. So you can, before you even get to the making of the cube, you can actually write down your research questions here and then your answers here. And it just helps you organize the information that you find. Okay, so that's the planning sheet. I'm going to go ahead and show you the other type of cube, okay, which is the BioCube. Okay. And because we're writing about a person, this is why I chose the BioCube. And this is a little bit different because it's going to prompt you with questions that they've come up with already. All right. So they know that we're writing about person. So all these questions that are on each side is going to be about the famous person. Okay. So on side one, it says, who are you writing about? So you can write the person's name. When did the person live? So you can write down when the person was born. And what I would do is write down in complete sentences the answers. So let's say I'm going to do Shel Silverstein. Okay. And I found out earlier by reading his website that he was born in 1930. So I'm going to write in complete sentences. He was born in 1930. I also found out that he was born in Chicago. So I'm going to say he was born in Chicago. Now, did you guys notice that a check mark just popped up? That means I'm done filling out that side. And I can move on to the next slide or side. Okay, so the next side asks you for the personal background of the person. So you might want to research maybe 3 to 5 different major events in that person's life and write out in a short paragraph about that person's life. Okay, and then you can move on. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of these sides, but basically it's a once you have filled it out, you'll end up with 6 different sides, each with pertinent information about the author. So, for example, side 5, obstacles. Did the person overcome any obstacles in his life? I don't know that much about Shel Silverstein, but I know, for example, somebody like Dave Pilkey, he was actually born with dyslexia. So he had a reading disability, but then he ended up overcoming that and becoming a great author, right? So those are the type of facts that you can look for during your research. When you're finished with your cube or answering the questions for the cube, you can go ahead and click on finish, okay? Um, and then you're going to come to this page. Now, this is the fun part. I'm going to show you 2 options of what to do once you're done with your slide or cube. The first thing is this print option, okay? So as you can see in this little preview here, the information you are filling out are going to be automatically populated in these boxes. So I've really only filled out side 1, and so I see my information here. Okay, but as you fill out your cube, these other blank spaces will be filled out. And when you print this out, you can then follow instructions here to cut out this paper craft and actually make this into a cube. Okay, so that's something you can do that's kind of fun. But you can also, not you can also, for me, for you to turn in this work for Mrs. Lin, what you're going to do is click on this button. So when you're completely done with your cube, okay, you're going to click on this share final button. Okay, and in here, you're going to come up with a file name for your cube. So my cube was about Shel Silverstein, so I'm going to go ahead and type in his name. And then in the send to button, you're going to enter Mrs. Lin's email. So linj@gaschool.com. Okay. And then in the from line, you're going to put in your email address. So if you're emailing me work from your GA School account, that's the email you're going to type in. So I'm going to go ahead and use my student demo account. Okay. And once you make sure that my email is correct and that your email is entered correctly, you can go ahead and click send. Okay. And that way I will get a copy of your cube. Okay. And then you can go ahead and click OK and be done with this. Now, when you're done sending me that file, here's the important part. I'm going to get a copy of your cube in my email. But what you're going to need to do is go back to Google Classroom where the assignment was posted, and you're going to click mark as done inside that assignment. Okay, because Google Classroom won't understand that you've completed classwork outside of Google Classroom and send it to me outside of Google Classroom. So it won't know that you're done with a assignment unless you go and click on that mark as done assignment button. Um, it's not a big deal if you don't do it. It's just that it's going to show up on your end as if you're missing that assignment or that assignment is late. So if that's something you don't want to see or deal with, make sure you click on that mark as done button before you exit out of that classroom. I hope that makes sense. Okay. If you have any questions during the week, remember we're not meeting on Friday for our check in because the teachers have a PD that day. So if you have any questions about this project, throughout the week, feel free to email me or request a Zoom meeting with me. I'm available pretty much 8 to 3 Monday through Thursday, unless I'm in another meeting. But again, you can always just email me and I'll get back to you pretty much within an hour or two. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a good week. I hope you guys have fun with this project. I can't wait to see your end results and learn more about your favorite author or poet. And have a great week. And I'll see you in a couple weeks, hopefully for the next Friday check-in. Talk to you later. Bye.